Good times.
All right, here we go. Live. Little later start tonight to the Cofield and Company late night podcast.
I almost responded to that. And then I was like looking over at the thing, and I would not have seen that we were live, and I might have responded. You might have regretted it.
No, it's fine. We're not effing around here. I might drop an F-bomb later on. I was just telling Seren about a interesting situation on the home front, but maybe we'll talk about that down the road. We got a lot to get to on this edition of We're Not Fucking Around Here.
Never.
We have a bunch of carryover topics actually from last night and from today's Cofield and Company show. How was your show today, Petro? How was your terrestrial radio show?
I would put it in a capsule for the future to see exactly what sports talk radio is supposed to be. I mean, it literally was that good.
I would not put ours in a capsule.
It was fine. You know, my kids always ask me, God bless them, hey, Dad, how was the show? Because I always ask them about school and what's going on. Well, how was your show, Dad? And usually I'm like, it's okay. You know, it's pretty good. They're like, well, that's pretty good, Dad, because usually you're not that happy with it. I'm like, it's not that I'm not that happy with it. I just usually, right now, 10 minutes after I just got off the air, I'm thinking about the things we could have done a little better.
Right.
You know, when you work at home, I literally sign off and sit down to dinner sometimes like 4 minutes later.
Yeah. Which is nice in some ways, but also after a show sometimes, anyone work, sometimes you have to decompress. You're not ready for chatty conversation, especially with the wife, and certainly not with the kids. So I guess they ground you, don't they? Immediately you have to go.
They do. They do. And I will tell you this, the walk upstairs, I've never been cut off by a moron or some dumbass sit through a green light in front of me. You know, it's a much better.
Have you ever said that? Especially with your youngest around? Daddy, how was the show?
No. My oldest did apparently drop an S-bomb for the first time.
Really?
And my wife laughed. It was appropriately used in the the way it should be used. So she dropped she dropped it in there and then she came over and told me, Dad, I said this, and Mom laughed. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to sit right now. So no, never in front of the kids. I think they've caught me like when I didn't know they were around the corner or something, but never an intentional.
What was the context of her dropping an S-bomb?
Something was said about something was happening, or this was happening at school, or this was happening with the family or whatever. And it was like, kind of like, oh boy, tough situation. And she goes, oh shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you don't think she learned that from you?
No, I mean, she's 14.
Wow.
14 and a half. They're well down the road there. I mean, you know, when your kid's dropping freaking and things like that there are other words that have been put into that.
Sure.
Yeah. But no, it was appropriate. It was like, oh, shit. I'm like, yep.
So
how it works.
Cameron's our sound engineer. You are actually getting a little like brushage on your microphone.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a zipper on my Kansas City Texans hoodie. So good call, Cameron. Because you know what? I do it on the big headset. I have like the big headset where I do the show and everything.
Sure.
And I will even hear it. It doesn't go across on the mic, but just this scratching when I wear this hoodie. But it's one of my favorite hoodies. If you can't tell, it's been worn a couple of times. So let me know if it still does it now that I've got the zipper out of the way.
Is that proper attire for a podcast? Do you feel like you should dress up more?
Is this not good enough?
I think it's fine. This is part of my softer side. I enjoy the Golden Globes, and we haven't talked Golden Globes all week because everyone's too busy. But there was a moment on the Golden Globes where Jason Sudeikis won a Golden Globe for that Ted Lasso show.
Have you seen it?
I've seen like halfway through, and I didn't bail on purpose. I got to get back to it. It's a good show. So
I thought it was a good show. I thought it was,
Well, he won.
He deserved the awards.
They're filming still in London, I guess, whatever, season 2 or 3 or whatever it is. And I don't think he expected to win. So a lot of people thought he was just fucking blazed out of his mind, that he was super high. And he actually was wearing a sweatshirt. And like a lot of the people, because it was all the nominees were at home. 99% of them were at home. So he pops on and he's like he didn't expect to win. And I think he was whacked. And his speech just rambled. And finally, Don Cheadle, who also was up for the award, was like, let's go. Come on. They know each other. But everyone, not everyone. There were some people who got on Sudeikis for wearing a hooded sweatshirt. The joke was it was the first time a winner ever, picked up the award with a hooded sweatshirt on. So
so do I think I should dress better? Not for this.
No.
We're not the Golden Globes.
No.
I mean, I don't even put my watch or my wedding ring on, for God's sake. I have an array of things that for the different TV stuff we do. I have the Worth hoodie, Worth Harley Davidson. I got a couple of different 810 shirts. And I got a Worth shirt. I've got a number of things that, like, when I have to pop on, like, I can just come down and whatever elastic waistband attire I'm on, grab one of these shirts and throw it on, and I'm good to go.
It's nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just keep them handy there. I don't know when they've been washed, but they get worn for like 30 minutes at a time. So
they're clean. It's clean. You got to wear them like 400 times.
Yeah, I do need the tearaway front suit.
The tearaway front of the suit would be awesome.
So I have like the storage area is if I cheat just a little where that door is open, you can see that like heads into the storage area. I've only got one of the doors closed because that's the one that I know that shows up. I'm going to put a hook on like one of the shelves that's out and have like 4 or 5 things just hanging there. Instead of set over the Frank Sinatra chairs that you love so much, instead of, laid over them nice and flat, I'll put them on a hanger and I'm ready to go.
What does this mean? You're the only person in KC that wears those awful Texans hoodies?
Yeah, because a couple of people it's where the team started, so it's got the AFL patch and everything. They did it on their anniversary. And so there's some people that got the red ass that, like, somehow, because that's what they really were, but it's not Kansas or Missouri and it's not Kansas City. And so fine. I'm the only person. I've never lived my life worrying about what the fuck everybody else is wearing. I'm not starting today.
Yeah, the pandemic in a lot of ways has been perfect. I hope this knocks down most societal norms about having to dress up. If you're a professional and you're motivated and you have some pride, you can still work whether you're wearing a fucking suit or a t-shirt and shorts.
Do you like I like retro stuff. Right? There's a company here in Kansas City that, like, that's all they do is like things. Oh, they make t-shirts that look like they're old.
Right.
Well, this is actually old and it's the history of the team. So I will wear it until it literally falls off me.
Did I miss a joke? What was fueled by Soren's predecessor?
There was predecessor to my current slot. He was very anti when the Chiefs went back and they wore the helmet with Texas on it and the yellow star for where Dallas was. And they did a whole throwback thing when it was, I think, their 50-year anniversary. And so they had a bunch of Texans gear. I mean, to me, it's cool stuff. Like, it's not what every other fan has. I guess I'll run right out and buy me a Patrick Mahomes jersey so I can fit in with the crowd.
That's a good bit for a radio guy, though, to be, only Chief stuff. None of those newfangled, hot-selling sweatshirts. I hate everything new. These fucking kids.
It's retro. If it's not, I'm going to be. It's like the guy, we've talked about it. The guy who moves to town and then wants to act like he's the most passionate guy about the town.
Oh, the radio guy? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There are those moments.
Yeah. It doesn't usually work.
No. Just the like, I'm so outraged. I'm going to be pissed about a logo. Like, it better have, depicted one guy choking another and, like, if you're going to be upset. Right?
Soren, you are describing half of our show because the Golden Knights are trying to be the Oregon Ducks. So they've got like 17 uni combos and they just rolled out these crazy gold helmets and everyone's, oh, I'm all mad. I don't like it. I'm like, I like every single thing they've done. It's all awesome. So everyone shut up.
It's not all awesome, but I don't mind having some uniform freedom.
But here's the thing: if you're a Chiefs traditionalist, that's one thing. They're the Golden Knights. They just got here. Like, I mean, we're gonna go away from tradition. Yeah, Yes, they're going to merchandise the F out of this team that is pulling off a miracle being good in its first 3 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on. The guy is here for a little while longer, Bill Foley. I'm not wishing death upon him, but like he wants to make money. He's in a hurry.
Yeah. I do like, the throwback night. What do you do when you're an expansion team? Like people come up with some clever stuff like, oh, we brought back the colors of the old IHL team, or we
that's what the Knights have done. So they've gone back to some of the old minor league teams and colors. So
yeah. But I'm what someone's got to like, some of them I need an explanation. Like there should be a ready explanation. Like the Blazers wearing brown. I was watching the Blazers and Warriors tonight, and I've seen this uniform before, but they're wearing brown with like orange and yellow stripes. Like, is this their throwback Padre uniform? Like, what is this? What is this alluding to?
That was the Blazers?
Yeah, Portland Trailblazers.
I don't know.
Wearing dark brown. I'm like, what's the problem?
I like the old unis, so. As a longtime Nets fan who never gave up on it when they went to Brooklyn, I stood with them the entire time. I love that they go back. I love that they go back to their tie-dye uniforms. Those are my favorite because
they are my favorite.
They're some of the worst uniforms in the history of sports. And
I totally disagree. I love those.
We're good. I mean, they're very creative, and those are teams that I liked. That was like
Derek Coleman, Drazen Petrovic, Kenny Anderson.
Yep. You know your Nets.
It's heyday. Chuck Daly on the bench.
Sure. All that winning. They were close.
Jason Williams.
Yeah.
At the 4 or at the 5.
The wrong Jason Williams. The bad
one.
Not. It's not a race thing either. Not white chocolate.
No.
This would be murdering Jason Williams.
Or the Jason Williams that's now Jay Will.
Yeah, he did change his name.
He was Jason Williams at Duke.
And he was Jason Williams at Duke, and he was Jason Williams at St.
Chris Morris. I'm just going to keep firing out Nets as I think of him.
I love Chris Morris. Very high value pick. Number 2 or 3 pick in the draft.
That's right. Broke a backboard at Pitt, and that's what got him drafted that high.
Turned out to be a very solid. I don't know if he averaged more than 14 points a game, but he wasn't great.
No.
He wasn't great. So can we talk about Mickey Callaway? What do you think? Let's talk about him because I don't know a lot of what's going on in this latest round.
So I touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
So like you're talking about a guy who's, sending pornographic images to people and, to women, married women. I mean, all the details I think are still to come. But I think to me, the story is like, it's not shocking that there's a guy that's doing these things. It's that the Cleveland Indians immediately went, wow, first we're hearing about it.
Yep.
And then the guy to call bull is Terry Francona's son.
Well, he has been quite vocal.
I mean, like I think it speaks to if you are still firing, if you're doing that kind of thing after what's gone on in society over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, and to think that at a Major League Baseball's organization immediately was, don't know what we're talking about and we're going to get away with this is, I think I guess I'm ignorant and naive in the sense that I'm like, no, this is going to be the time that they all figure it out.
Right.
This is going to be it. Like, this is when people go, okay, you're right. We got to be better. And I'm a moron. Because I'm like,
who's going to call them out if most of the culture around him is cool with it and they do the same stuff?
Well, that's my point. And that's what I think this is a clear indicator. Baseball is a good old white boy network.
I mean, how about go back? Was it last year with that cunt who was an assistant GM? And I'll use the word here because he is and was and wherever he's going to work again.
And because you have no fear in using it at any time, that's also a contributor.
I don't, but that word is designated for guys who, in this case with the Astros, the assistant GM is like harassing women because they want Roberto Osuna covered correctly.
Right.
Asshole. You're rounding up the troops for a guy who's facing domestic violence allegations. And I'm guessing the chatter behind the scenes is, oh, he's fucking women. Like, what?
Yeah.
Where are the other guys to go? Fuck you. You hate women?
Yeah.
Fucking knock you out, dick.
The fact that guy did that, ultimately got fired, and the Indians are still doing what they're doing shows that there is no message. And I think what has to happen is I think good people in baseball need to have to answer questions about it. Right? People that aren't like I intend to ask something, I say it's my intention. I need to write it down. I need to make a note. But I would like to ask Dayton Moore about it because I think Dayton Moore, the Royals general manager, is considered to be one of the most decent human beings on the planet. But I think guys like him need to answer this question so that when they sit at the general manager meetings, somebody goes, "Hey, can you dickheads pull your head out of your ass? I'm sitting here, trying to revive baseball in the inner city. Got a baseball academy. He's giving back to the community. He's doing everything he can. The Kansas City Royals aren't giving any furloughs or pay cuts to any employee during the entire pandemic. Didn't let go of any minor leaguers. They literally are trying to do everything the right way, but they're clearly not helping police their own, or at least if they are, they're not getting any traction. And so to me, I think people have to answer some questions that don't want to answer these questions. And if they do, then they'll be, I think, peer pressure is real. And the peer pressure is one that, hey, this is how it is. Nobody say anything. And the peer pressure needs to be, you dumbasses, I don't need to be answering these questions. And so I think the Mickey Callaway thing, after the Astro thing, after all the stuff we've seen, and at a time that we just saw them hire their first female general manager, I think it's time for some people to do more. That's a step in the right direction. I mean, I don't want to belittle that. That was a fully qualified woman who got the job, but now I'd like to see the next step, have somebody stand up at that meeting now in the general managers meetings with a woman general manager and say, all right, who's taking pictures of the junk? Anybody want to do it right here? What organization's going on? Because we now have a lady in this room. What are you going to do, assholes? And hopefully it'll bring some change about.
Why can't people step up and have these conversations? Like this guy, listen, Mickey Callaway is part of the Good Old Boy Network as a former baseball player. Mm-hmm. This dick from last year, Brandon Taubman, is a nerd who went to Cornell, was working at Ernst & Young. He's a math guy. You're afraid to stand up to the math guy?
Well, the Astros did fire him.
No, I'm saying they did, but within the organization, no one stepped up on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was because.
By the way, I don't know what this is. He's already got a job. I'm not saying the guy should be penalized for life, but I would love to be a woman. According to Wiki, he's working now as he was hired as the chief information officer of Stablewood Properties, a Houston-based real estate operator. I'm sure he learned his lesson.
So I would, to me, the Astros thing is it's clear that was the culture of the entire ball club.
Of course, top to bottom, front office, to the fucking team. We are gonna do whatever we want. And then the great thing is, like you said, it's not only doing bullshit and being obnoxious. It's also when you get caught, then you lash out like this guy did with these women in the clubhouse, complaining that, oh, Roberto Osuna, there's an issue there, or I don't know. I in some ways I feel like defending Carlos Carrasco because he was like the guy out front. I don't know why he was a guy out front. I think it says a lot about the other guys who play in the Astros that the guy who's barely been in the United States, and speaks broken English is having to go out there and be the tough guy and defend them. That was weak in my mind. But yeah, the Astros are maybe they're cleaning it up. Come on,
that's what I'm saying. It's industry wide.
No, but even that city, the Texans too. It's like,
oh yeah. But I mean, I really do think I think someone like Dayton Moore is the kind of guy that will actually say something.
He would.
I think he would. Wow, I was laughing at what Kirk had up there. Yeah, I think Dayton Moore absolutely would.
All right. I don't know, man.
I mean, I think in the right time, I don't think he's going to come in there and be like, all right, guys, I got an agenda. Everybody's going to do this. But I think at the right moment, he'd be like, I think if I ask him about it, he will say it's absolutely something that has to change in this game. Dayton Moore, the knock on Dayton Moore, I asked a guy when the Royals had the number 2 pick. They ended up taking Bobby Wood Jr. There was Adley Rutschman and Bobby Wood Jr. That was at the top. I asked a guy that had covered the team and, covered baseball. And I said, well, if the Royals had the number 1 pick, who do you think they'd take? And they said, whoever goes to church more. So the knock on Dayton Moore is that, he's goody two shoes. So Dayton Moore will be like, yeah, it's a problem, this and that, and I think the large majority of baseball will like, and I think there is, for what it's usually called in the baseball realm is the God Squad. I think there's that crew, but I mean that crew hasn't clearly shunned or has enough power to shun the industry into behaving the right way. And I'm not advocating that everybody has to be on, Team God Squad. I'm just advocating that you treat people like decent human beings, for God's sake. That's all.
Yeah,
That's too much to ask for, Steve?
No, not at all. I get so annoyed with this stuff because with the whole female in the workplace thing, because guys who continue to do this, it rolls down to guys who don't, and then we're fucked.
Yes,
we are. I have a topic I want to talk about later, and I never talked about it on the air because I'm not doing it on terrestrial radio because it's not worth it, because immediately I may get thrown in with assholes who really do have bad intentions instead of just having a healthy debate
about.
There was a text out the other day on Monday from a lady named Jane Slater who works in Dallas, and I think she tried to pull a kids these days, and I think she's only in her early 30s, which I think is really funny when you're doing that. But she was saying that she had sent out information on 3 unpaid internships, and she was surprised by the reaction she got. I think the reaction was unpaid. And then she said something like, I jumped at those opportunities and they got me where I am. Well, she didn't realize when you say an unpaid internship, there are a lot of people out there who can't do an unpaid internship because they have to work to live. They don't come from privilege. And it just went on and on and on throughout the day. And it kind of turned into the haves and the have-nots. And then people started doxing her, looking up her background. And it turns out either her father or her grandfather was the president of Wolf's Chili, which I guess is a pretty big brand out there. We have it out here. I don't know if you guys have it there. So, then people start passing judgment on her family, but she got all pissed off. She's like, this is a terrible place. Wait, you started out with a tweet talking about, one, how hard you worked, that you made sacrifices, and kids these days. You are the one who went on an attack.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I'm not interested in talking about this on terrestrial. I'm not interested in talking about this on Twitter because I know it could be turned around. It's like, hey, you're being toxic. No, what I'm toxic against are privileged people not thinking through what they're talking about and also not realizing not all of us had awesome opportunities from the get-go or could take advantage of awesome opportunities. I'm not one of them. My parents were middle class. They afforded me some opportunities. Now, I'm not a buck. Name all the other family. I had no connections.
Right.
I got into broadcasting by having some friends, doing some decent work. So that's a whole nother thing with nepotism. But that internship thing was amazing. And then she tried to double down, and she was like, listen, I worked for 2 years making $16,500 a year. I've never worked harder in my life. And I was like, oh, fuck. Really? Do you know how this is bullshit what we're doing? Look at, I'm knocking stuff down. My hat for St. Patty's Day is getting all screwed up. My drunk. Yeah. But there's also, there's a reality here. This is play. This is fun. I worked a long day today. You know what work was? I got to sit courtside and watch the number 19 team in the country manhandle UNLV.
Yeah, I know. I watched it.
Oh, God. Fucking hard work, man. When media people say that shit, I'm like, you have people out there who don't have jobs, who work jobs that they don't like, suck balls, work at a meat packing plant.
Wait, is that the job or the job?
That could literally be your job. Yes, sucking balls.
When I watch guys work roof crews and they're on the roof, Jesus. And they're ready to go, and the hammer flies at 7 a.m. when the city ordinance says it can fly, and they're still up there in the dead of summer at 8:30, and I'm like, I honestly, I have such admiration, right? I mean, they're working all day, right, and it's tough work, It is tough, physical, and to a degree dangerous work. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I'll never bitch about my job, what I do. I mean, it's the lightest lifting you could do for a job. And we did have this as a subject that we discussed, bring it up today. It's been
Look at that. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? I work so little manual labor. If I do any yard work, like my hand explodes. It's just like there's a little abrasion in my hands. Like, oh, what is this? Go back to the keyboard and hold it.
I had a tough situation. I had some work that was hard. It was really hard for like a morning in the yard, and I blistered both the insides of my thumbs from actually having to wield a rake, for more than a second. Right? It was like I was like, I go, this is pathetic, and I was determined. I'm like, no, I'm going to finish. I'm going to let it get as bad as it is because it's an eye opener. Like how soft I am when it comes to actually doing. And I actually like it. I like getting in the yard. I like the manual labor. I like because I don't do any of it. Because I'm a fat, lazy shit when it comes to my real job is just sitting here staring at a screen, staring at another screen, typing on another keyboard. Like 2 keyboards and a couple of screens is like really pushing the maximum physical effort that I have to give in a day. But, we did have this as a topic.
You did.
And the reason we didn't get to it, we might get to it tomorrow. But the thing that it stands out to me is I will say this. It speaks to the industry. Like if you're a stand-up comic, like there are jobs that, a friend of mine who was a stand-up comic once told me our jobs do a good, they do a good job. Our industries do a good job of weeding out the people that aren't serious about it. Like you have to be serious. And that is true in the sense that you have to make no money and you got to go through the years of making no money. Like, and a lot of people are like, screw this. Like, my first gig was, I turned down $10,500 and a move to North Carolina when I first got out of college. That was going to be the annual salary. And they showed me the low income housing I could live in. Hey, you'll qualify for this. Because the good thing is, like they were selling me on, this is why we only pay you $10,500, because you can live here for like nothing. Right? If we paid you like 14, then you're not eligible. Like I actually went through that speech. All right, well, that's great. But what happens is you have to be able to live at home. Or be supported by family to get into the industry, which is bullshit. The bigger picture, there's 2 things. One, where's all the money in the industry? If $4.5 million is what it takes to advertise a commercial on the Super Bowl, where's it all going? Now, you can quickly be like, well, guys like Jim Nantz make $12 million or Al Michaels make this, and they make a healthy check. And yes, you could hire, take 400, take 10% of Jim Nantz's salary and you could hire, 200 people at $30,000, right? Whatever it would be. A bunch of jobs can be given. But that's not where the money's going. What's amazing is there's no money and the product suffers because there's lots of support jobs that have all been cut out of every industry, our industry as well, that have all been cut out for a bottom line that is actually has to be so thin because all the money that's being generated is going to pay the banks. The banks own all the TV stations and radio stations and newspapers. The banks are where it all goes. It all goes to pay the note. Deregulation. It used to be you could own 1 AM and 1 FM and 1 television station in a town, right? And you couldn't own a newspaper if you owned broadcasting. And so all the money is in television towers, radio towers, and printing presses that will be fucking irrelevant in 10 years or 20 or whenever it is. And so there's no money in the industry because all the fat cats at the top sucked it all out. The banks have it all because they deregulated it to where like now Major League Baseball figured it out. You have to put 50% down in cash or you can't buy a Major League Baseball team. You can't finance the whole thing. Or maybe it's the NFL that has that rule. One of them has a rule that you have to be, I think the principal owner has to be 60% of the team and 50% of the team has to be liquid. I think it's football is that way. Because they started going, wait a minute. All these teams are leveraged at 90%. And in 2008, when the mortgage bubble busted, they went, holy shit, we have some people who might go bankrupt. And we can't have that anymore. Yet that is not applied to, American media. And therefore, like all the jobs on the low end pay nothing. Well, it's the epitome of like.
I'm glad you had the discussion. I also, the other thing I was a little worried about, I thought on terrestrial, it was a little too deep divey media wise. But I guess, when you make the connections to the haves and the have nots and who actually gets to go into the industry they want to go into, and who can't because they have to actually work a real job.
Right.
That does cover across all different demos.
I don't want to call it systemic racism, but it does go down that road. It's systemic impoverishment.
Hmm?
It's a career you can't go into unless your family can support you for X number of years. I mean, and there's more and more industries that are like that. Do you know what the average in 2017? I haven't looked it up. Do you know what the average college graduate made coming out of school? College graduate average salary.
What year?
2017.
$59,000 a year.
$27,000.
See how I did that?
Yeah. And meanwhile, that's not even 1 year. 1 year the cost of college. Now, here's the next question. In 1977, do you know what the average college graduate made?
77. You said 2017. It was 37.
It was 27.
27. Average college graduate in 77.
Yes.
Damn it. 12.
27,000.
Stop.
27,000. Now, the next thing people always say to me is, "Oh, you mean because of inflation?" Like you mean no. They made $27,000 in 1977 dollars. Right. Now they make 27,000. Now, full disclosure, showing my work, there are many more college graduates that come out now than came out then. So there's more people out there, but the overall average wage at almost every job has gone up almost nothing. The difference is the interest rate has been lowered to make you think you're making more money. You can buy more house because the interest rate isn't 14% to buy a house anymore. It's now 2.25%. And so you've been duped into thinking you're doing better when in reality, at some point, I mean, we're at 2.25. You're not going to get to negative 0.25. They're not going to give you money to take a loan. If you don't see the fucking end of where this is going.
Right.
Right. So, but that's the system.
Right. So, Mickey Callaway.
I thought we already covered Mickey Callaway.
Not completely.
Okay.
Because we have to intro you to the conversation that started on last night's night happy hour. It continued briefly on Cofield and Company, but one of the cast members got so pissed off that I was like, uh-oh, someone's really getting a chapped ass over this thing. So last night, our lone female podcast host, Allie, threw out, I don't even know who she referenced initially, but we were talking about probably some athlete or actor, and she said, "That's a guy's guy." And we were ready to move on, and I was like, wait a second. What does that mean? We were talking about Drake. Good memory. Like there's 14 Drake pops. Nice. She said
Drake the rapper?
Yes.
Okay.
She said that Drake is a guy's guy. And I'm like, I'm not going to fight it because I don't know what
it is, but he's not the first name that came to mind on the phrase guy's guy.
Yeah, this is great because everyone's got a different definition. We wound up going round and round, but where we really started was I was like, hold on. This whole like Cofield and Company connection and universe, right? With guests, but regular contributors, podcast hosts, and the company who work with me. I was like, name the guy's guy. And without hesitation, she's like, Soren.
Who said this?
Allie, who's our Tuesday podcast host.
You meaning me?
Yeah, so I immediately said, you mean Soren? And then it was like 10 minutes. The room just started putting up laughing emojis.
Right.
I had to go off camera. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, she said you, which obviously then launched us into a conversation. All right, like what makes a guy's guy? I've got a list of 10 people here that I'll run down in a couple of minutes.
By the way, not on my list, me. I don't have a list.
Yeah.
Not me.
Why not? Because she thought you were a guy's guy. And a lot of it was based on appearance and maybe a presence, but I think she liked the bigger beard.
Okay.
Maybe there's a little attitude that you command some respect. I thought maybe she enjoys the burliness. I actually said you were stout. You were stout with a big beard.
Did you say a lot of guy? There's a lot of guy. Was that what it was?
Now think about this. Would other guys look at? We'll say guys. It could be women too. Do you think people look at you and go, "That's a guy's guy"?
No.
Why not?
Well, number one, I've never, and this probably is a detriment. I've never taken the time to say, what do people look at me and see? Right? Like that's, I guess that thought never crosses my mind because I don't know. I just don't, I'm a guy. Listen, I've said it a million times. I'm a fat kid with a microphone. So, you know, I don't view myself like, I've always said this business, you know, you remember the what is it, the yin and yang deal?
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just I'm getting distracted. Keep going. Yes, the yin and yang. Yes, keep going.
The yin and yang thing. If you get into this business, right? You know, the yin and yang, it's like a lot of one thing and a little bit of another, and then on the other side, it's a lot of the other and a little bit of the first thing. Now, when you get into this business, you're one of the two sides of that. You're either all about, you know, for sports talk, you're all about the sports, you're all about the subject matter, and a little bit of show off, right? Because you don't do this where everyone's going to be paying attention to you unless you've got some show off in you, or you're all about the show off, you need attention, and just a little bit about the content. And again, we all have some of that. If you go into this business, look at me and you, right? Look at me. Like, you know, you enjoy making people laugh or informing them or, you know, doing that kind of thing. The question is, how big is the circle, right? There are a lot of people, and I think you can listen to their shows or, you know, watch them, and you realize, and I think there's a guy on that list on our list of things we put up there that is one of those guys there's just a tiny little dot of the content, and all of it is, I want to be the center of attention, right? Like, we do a radio show. Do I really need to go start shit on Twitter to get some more attention? Like, I get all the attention I need. I have 4 hours on the radio where I decide what we're going to talk about and where we're going to go. Like, that's all I need.
That is, you know, the way you put that is kind of crazy, because I'm the same way. I don't really understand if you get what you need to get out during the 4 hours. And in our case, we're doing podcasts too. Like, This isn't enough. Now I gotta, you know what? I gotta go fucking fight. Let me go fight. And let me shine a light on myself for like another, you know, on and off for like another 8 hours. Like, how much do you need?
Yeah, the guy who's in the media, like, listen, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you know, love your show, or hey, I like your show, you know, that's one thing you said I think is wrong. I'm all ears. I am, right? I do want to hear the feedback, and it's nice to know people are listening, because if they're not listening, we don't have a job. And so I'm all ears. But I don't walk into a place and become, you know, well, I mean, if I have a few too many Coronas, I might become the louder guy in the place, of which feel free to tell me, hey, you need to keep it down, which has been done before, right? But for the most part, I don't head out when I leave my house being like, here I am over here. You know, it's like, I'm happy to meet the people that listen, but I don't need to be the center of attention when I walk through the grocery store, right? I'm here to get my sundries and move on. And, you know, but if it happens, that's fine. But there are people that go out there, and I think there are people that on their show, like the people that just, you know, like, oh, I know you're like, nothing, it doesn't bother me anymore because I've heard it enough, and I have to wear it for the industry we work in. Well, I know you guys are just there to start shit. No, I'm really not. That's not my goal. Sometimes shit's going on and we're in the middle of it. And then there are other people in the industry that what they do is to run out, find conflict, and jump in the middle of it, and then victimize themselves or create a scenario where they've been victimized. But like every subject out there that's a pissing match, like I think in sports radio, like the big debate, do you or don't you get into the politics discussion? And my rule has always been, I don't get into politics and I don't get into personal lives of people until it runs into the sports. If players are going to kneel, it's run into sports. That's a subject I have to cover. Because it's now they're not signing a qualified quarterback. It's a subject I have to cover. right? But the people that run out into every political debate that's out there and create that every day, they're just looking for attention. They're just trying to get in the middle of the shitstorm. So it's like a look at me situation. Now, the people, and I think you know where I'm going with this one, who actively search their name on Twitter, like I'm sure there's somebody out there like, Petro's a shitheel, or what a dumbass. This and that. I don't search my name ever, right? Like wherever it is, don't go search it right now.
Right.
I'm sure there's something there. But like the people that go out, cough, cough, right? And search their name and then jump into pissing matches. This guy is the classic example.
Yep.
Are just insecure people that are needing, craving attention. They're in this business only to get attention. Which on that subject, since that guy comes after one of my friends in this business on a regular basis,
right?
And I have heard from everyone who's ever crossed paths with him that he's a despicable individual, and I will repeat that. And I tweeted him that one day, and told him that. And I don't know if I told the story on here. Some people around town that follow me on Twitter will know. I tweeted at him and I just said off one of his statements, I guess it is true what everyone I've ever known that worked or was around you said. You are a horrible person, or whatever it was, or you're a terrible person to be around, or you can't stand working with you, whatever it was. I took a shot, one thing, one tweet, never tweeted again. And I got like 25 tweets back at me from him for 3 days.
God, well, he went crazy on you. And then we've talked about this before. You could also see that he texted a bunch of people and was like, hey, this guy's coming after me. And he had all these people tweet on his behalf. I don't care.
On his tweets,
I don't.
He attached like Mike Tirico, like anyone and everyone he's ever crossed paths with, hoping they would all come in for Dan's a great guy. And 2 or 3 guys did. And God bless him. Maybe he's a swell guy to them.
Yeah.
But he's
how about I tag all those folks today?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of Dan?
I should scroll back and find that. He deactivated his Twitter account, right?
He had to, yeah. I guess they probably told him to pull it down.
I think they told him you get rid of it or you're fired. And that's how he he's a tough guy who talks all this shit and does what so many do that, talk all this shit and then somehow claim that they've been victimized.
Right.
Start shit and then complain when they get punched back.
Yeah.
He's so tough, he deactivated his Twitter account to save his ass.
Well, you can now put your Twitter account on hold. So basically, it'll be gone for 3 weeks. It'll be back, and he'll scrub some of this stuff that's been up there in the past. So I'm
Brady's thing about being scolded.
It's
one of the more recent ones.
What, he was scolded?
That's the line. The word is he did not get fired from ESPN, but he got a stern scolding or a strong scolding. Right. Kiss my ass, ESPN. A scolding. And I like ESPN. I know everyone loves anything that's immensely successful. Everyone wants to bash. ESPN does great work. I'm a huge fan of ESPN. And not everything they do is gold, but they do a lot of really good work. There's a lot of really good people there. But kiss my ass on a strong scolding. The guy's been stepping in shit for years. For years. He's crossed the line numerous times. And by the way, do you find his broadcast good?
What, on the games? We've talked about this before. I think I think he's like a mid-level broadcaster. I think he knows the Big Ten.
He's not exceptional, though.
I think he can be entertaining. Well, here's the thing. His radio show locally is exceptional by that market standard. So you can see why the local radio station keeps him around, because he generates a lot of money. So whether you like it or not.
I think he generates a lot of controversy.
Well, he clearly is a guy who connects with a certain demo of dudes who are 40 plus. I'm not saying all dudes 40 plus are the same, but he connects with a certain demo, and that it generally can be a demo that has some money. There may be some guys who are not high achievers in that group, so he's going to stay around. And in this case, I still don't even really understand what he got in trouble for. He was fighting over athlete compensation. He got into it with 3 professors. He talked about these professors are bitching about this, and there was a woman in the group, and it's like, oh, shit. I guess I had never thought of that. You can't use the word bitching about a woman if you're a guy, and especially in this environment. And if you've got like 7, problems on your resume in the past, if you're Dockich, then it's going to be even more trouble. So,
Put up the truth from Duluth, because this is what I hear from Indianapolis as well.
Really?
Yeah, I hear it's not this runaway beast juggernaut show.
All right.
He promotes it like he'll flat out tell you he's the best talk show host ever.
Right.
But from what I hear, there is a lot of blowback. There's a lot of people that avoid him. I mean, I don't know. I haven't bothered to, and I don't have access to, the way the ratings work and radio. You can't just go look at anyone's numbers wherever. They got to pay $1 million to get the numbers and all that kind of crap. But, which is fine. God bless them. That's the industry. They're making money. People are paying them. But I hear it's not, you're not talking about bringing down Howard Stern in Indianapolis.
No. But in sports radio, if he's got a certain demo and he's got a character, and I think much of what he's doing is a character, he's probably doing a pretty decent job. And I mean, that said, I think he does believe a lot of the stuff he says. And frankly, is it a big surprise that guy is pretty close to the tree? I mean, he learned under Bob Knight playing basketball.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And we know what Bob Knight is. I'm not saying that Dockich is Knight, but he's got some of Knight in him.
Well, I mean, there has to be some level of success because he hasn't been fired.
Yep.
But I'm curious because, listen, Bob Knight was atrocious on television. He was awful.
He was the worst ever.
He was a tremendous basketball mind.
Yep.
And at one point was a tremendous basketball coach, but he was absolutely terrible as an announcer. He was absolute dog shit.
He was lazy.
And yet he kept his job for like 3 or 4 years. And
right.
Everybody, he was doing Big 12 games, and everybody in the Big 12 that I do, at least everybody in my listening audience, which includes certainly at the time, Missouri was still in the league, KU, K-State, Missouri, but also Iowa State fans and Oklahoma State fans, because our signal booms south and there's a lot of transplants. Everybody hated that he was doing the games. Everybody hated a Bob Knight done, that he was doing Big Monday games. We could not figure it out. And it was because one guy at ESPN was personal friends with Bob Knight. That's why he kept his job.
I couldn't tell if it was an act when he was clunty with Vitale, because I thought Vitale really did a good job of trying to soften him and carry him. And I thought at times, maybe it was a bit and I didn't get it, but I thought at times I'm like, dude, relax. He's trying to help you.
It's not a bit.
You are just a complete asshole.
When you are just completely 100% absorbed with yourself,
right?
That's how it sounds.
Oh, apple didn't fall far from the tree. Oh, so
no,
by the way, is this now a time to just go out of your way to pick fights with Dockich to see what he does?
Yes.
I mean, I'm here's the thing.
You? No,
I'm not doing it.
Anyone listening to us right now, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very pro broadcaster, and I don't like people being pulled off the air because they got into fights, and they may have used a term that they didn't realize was offensive. And I don't know the full scope of this discussion.
Listen, I've said a million times. You show up late to work on Monday, and like, hey, my dog got out. Oh shit, man, that sucks. Okay, you're late on Tuesday. Listen, I had to take my grandma to the doctors. Oh man, I hope she's all right. Wednesday, you're late, and it's like, my kid's got an earache, man. It was hell. I had to keep her home. I had to wait till I could get my cousin over there to watch it. Okay, Thursday, you're late to work. You had a flat tire. Friday, you're late to work. Fuck you. I don't care. Like, each one in and of itself is okay.
Right.
But 5 days in a row, you're full of shit. You have that many problems. There's an argument to be made on each and every one, but you have it that time and time and time again. The problem is you. The problem is the individual. And I that point was reached a long time ago.
Do you remember when you and he were going at it as you were defending Jason Anderson?
It would have been before Jason came back here, so it was pre we're in what, 21, 20, not maybe in let's see, 19, was it probably about 2018. Right. I could look because I know I was at the Dude Perfect show with my daughter and one of her friends, the Dude Perfect arena tour.
And your phone wouldn't stop.
I took in my phone. I was sitting there looking through, and I'm a fan of Dude Perfect, by the way. I think it's pretty good, fun entertainment for the kids, and I enjoy a lot of their shit too. So they wouldn't appreciate me calling it their shit because they're good people. But I think it's good stuff, and I was scrolling through, and he was lighting me up 2 days later, that was on a Friday because I know I jetted over to get it. So I'm gonna say 18, summer of 18, late summer of 18,
Interesting.
August, September of 18 is gonna be my guess. Maybe I'll scroll back and look.
All right. Is Dan Dockich a guy's guy? He's on my list.
If guy's guy is a positive term, no. If guy's guy is a negative term, sure. I mean, because like, listen, his riff, you said his name. I'm not gonna keep saying it, but he completely fabricated what it was he was pissed at this guy for, and fired out. And like that's like you start speaking. There's what you're right. I'm with you. Like somebody makes a mild mistake on how they say something, or they say something and they're trying to be just honest about it, but somebody doesn't like the language that they used or how they described it. There is a free speech element, but when you just lie and make shit up, you claim people did things that they didn't do to try to paint yourself as a victim, to try to get people to rally around you, that's absolute bullshit. You're a despicable individual and you should pay a price. More than a scolding. And one day that will happen because it's inevitable, because he can't help himself.
He can't stop. Yeah, he's not going to stop. He likes angst. He likes fighting.
Well, he needs the attention.
Yeah.
The fighting is just a way to get the attention.
Is Kirk a guy's guy? Our buddy Kirk, who's an adventurer, a world traveler. He camps. I feel like he's a survivalist, because that's where the whole guy's guy thing yesterday went in the direction of a survivalist. Like, how many guy skills do you have, or survivalist skills do you have?
Well, let's see. He camps. He camps out in the wild. He goes on trips in the wild. He owns firearms. He's trained in the use of firearms.
Uncle Buck is a good suggestion. That may be a guy's guy, the character Uncle Buck. Now, was John Candy a guy's guy?
If Uncle Buck was a guy's guy, then that's the only way I slide into the guy's guy.
You can be a big hearty, lovable fella who will sit and do shots and drink beers and talk shit at the bar. That could be a guy's guy.
I mean, are we hit that lower one, by the way?
Which one?
The bottom one there.
Okay.
That's Kirk. Kirk gave up a kidney.
All right.
I mean, it's like, are we talking first of all, I think that's a term that every individual would have their own definition. By the old school definition, Clint Eastwood's a guy's guy.
Okay.
Right? The tough guy that's there to, and I think that in the truest sense of the word, the tough guy that's there to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves and is ready to handle the shit. Right? That's how I would think of it as. Navy SEALs are guys.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
but I think there are other people that guys are the ones that go out and sleep with 5 different women in 6 nights.
Yeah. For
me, it would be, and as long as everyone was consenting, whatever you want to do, go for it. But for me, it would be, guy's guy. I think the definition is up to each individual. The societal definition would not be my definition. Like John Candy could be a guy's guy. Like Kirk, he is a guy's guy. First of all, he marches to his own beat. He's been in 90 some odd countries around the world, and he's a good person you can count on 100%. And like Jim said, he gave a kidney to a guy. Yeah, 100%. Guy's guy. But I don't think that's always the definition.
Can any of the Jonas Brothers be a guy's guy?
They could. I don't know enough about them.
I agree.
Nick would seemingly be the best candidate, right? He's the lead guy.
That's who I wrote down.
And
I only know Nick and Joe, and I don't really know who they're married to, but I think they've had some quality shipping in the past, and they.
So for you, the sex part is part of it.
Not necessarily. No.
Because for me, being 49-year-old father of 2, like married 15 years, like that element is like not even. It's a foreign concept to me, having been married for 15 years.
Is James Harden a guy's guy?
How did James Harden come up?
It's a random list, man. Random list.
My guys, for me, right? I might steal this topic tomorrow.
I know.
I actually am intrigued by it.
It's intriguing. There's no right answer.
Well, that's why it's a great talk show. The best topics are the ones that there's no right answer because everyone feels willing to give their opinion. Yep. If I say, are the Chiefs gonna keep Eric Fisher or not, nobody wants to chime in because they don't want to be wrong. If it's something that you can't be wrong on, everybody's got an opinion. They let me make my opinion on what's going to happen, and then they shit on me when I'm wrong. Not everybody, a couple people. You said the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. You're right. I did. I got it wrong. I'm sorry. You didn't. I always put a thing out. All right, give me your predictions. Nobody gets to call in or tweet at me and tell me about how you knew it was going to happen unless you can point to the tweet or the phone call and I write down their name and their prediction. Unless you've called in before or tweeted at me and can show the tweet. Otherwise, I don't want to hear your shit afterwards about how you knew it was going to happen. We do that before the games. What would be a guy's guy?
Is Tom Brady a guy's guy? Uh-oh.
I mean, yeah, probably immensely successful in his career. For me, yeah, seems to be a guy who really cares about his family. I mean, from that standpoint, like my guy's guy is going to be different than some 24-year-old single guy's guy.
Right.
My priorities are different. You know, my guy's guy will be.
Is there a problem with Uggs? If you're fashionable, can you be a guy's guy? If you've got a $700 haircut, can you be a guy's guy? If your wife dresses you, can you be a guy's guy?
If you're in LA, you're the guys of guys.
If you only chop it up with your closest friend, maybe you are a guy's guy. I still believe the that whole thing that Affleck got in trouble for years ago. There was some kind of sexcapade, plane, hanging around chicks. I still believe that Affleck took the hit for Brady. Like, I believe Brady does that stuff. But I don't know. And again, I went back to sex, so I don't know.
I'm trying to think of somebody who fits the bill.
Can you be a guy's guy if you ever wear an outfit? You can't be a guy's guy drinking avocado tequila. All
right, that's fair. Like, is there any dirt on Mark Wahlberg?
Not that I know of. I mean,
by my account, he's a good family guy, right?
Yeah.
He seems to only make movies where he's the good guy.
Right. Okay. Well.
So could he be a guy's guy? Can I put Mark Wahlberg down? He's got a restaurant chain. He's helping his brothers, less talented brothers, out by throwing his name onto a burger chain. Like, that seems like a guy's guy to me.
If we're judging guys, should we also roll in? Like, would you ever want to hang out with that guy and would he talk to you? I'm naming all famous people. Like, would Tom, if like, hey, this is Petro, and he doesn't know you do sports talk, so he's not afraid of you. Like, hey, here's Petro. Why don't you talk to Tom Brady? You think Tom Brady's going to sit there and just chug some beers with you? Maybe.
I'll give you were you there the night we hung out with Mario Lopez?
Oh, no. This could open a big wound. This could be really controversial. I was not. No, I was not.
Why? Tell me the backstory.
Adam Hill has a real man crush on Mario Lopez because of Saved by the Bell. And then he had one encounter with Mario Lopez at a fighting event, and Adam just like got too creepy too fast, and he just said Mario Lopez was like, bruh, you ruined it. So he feels so bad about it. Like, he wants a second chance. We came up with a hit list a couple of years ago of people we want on that Ari was going to deliver on, and Mario Lopez was like right at the top of the list, and nothing's happened. And like, we have connections to him, and we haven't gotten Mario Lopez. But anyway, what was he like?
So it was me. I think Johnny D was on here sometimes. Remember Johnny D Candido?
Of course, yes.
Johnny D. There's two different Johnny Ds. Because I remember Johnny D was in from San Diego hanging out, and it was the night after New Year's Eve. So it was January 1st night. And we were at the Hard Rock back when the Hard Rock was small and cool.
Sure.
And we're just sitting there having drinks. And, there's 4 or 5 of us. I can't remember who else was there. I know there was at least those 3 of us. And all of a sudden, tall Johnny D says to me, "Hey, dude, check it out." Like, over my shoulder. I'm leaning at the circle bar which used to be kind of a hip place. I don't know if it still is. I don't know how it is now. And I turn to look, and there's Mario Lopez behind us. And so, we're like, okay, well, we're not gonna say anything or whatever. And there's like an older guy, like 10 years older than him guy. And we're talking, and we're just talking about work. We're talking about, Sports Fan Radio Network days, and we're talking about it. And the guy with him goes, "You guys work in sports radio?" And we're like, yeah, that's what we do. He's like, "Oh man, I love sports radio. I listen to it all the time at work." I was like, "Oh yeah, what do you do?" He goes, "Well, I'm a cop in Cincinnati." And I was like, "Oh yeah, so you're driving around and you got sport." He goes, "Oh yeah, I love it. What do you guys do?" We explain it to him. So we're talking up a storm. Meanwhile, Mario Lopez is talking to like 3 girls, right? Like what you would expect. And this guy, and so we're chatting it up, and then the girls wander off or whatever, and Lopez turns back around, and this guy's his buddy, and he's like, "Yeah, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh hey, Mario, I want to introduce you to these guys. Yeah, they do sports talk." And we're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Hey, Mario, how are you?" Like, and somebody's like, "Yeah, we know who you are." He's like, whatever. Right. And so we just chatted up, and him and his buddy, who was a Cincinnati cop. That's my memory. If I'm wrong, and he's got a friend and he's a cop somewhere else, but that's my memory is he was a Cincinnati cop. We chatted it up with them. They were sitting there talking to us about sports and everything. And eventually the conversation got to where we didn't go Adam Hill and get all creepy and weird. We just talked wherever the conversation went. And so we all had a good time. We were having drinks, buying drinks for each other and whatever. And then he's like, his buddy goes, "Hey, we're going to go over to this club. You want to go with us?" We're like, yeah. Right? Like when does, one of the cast members of Saved by the Bell say, "Hey, let's go get some drinks"? So we went to a club. We went to another club. And no, we did not call him Macy Slater. Not at any point. But we did end up talking about acting, because at one point I remember somebody said something to the effect of, "Well, dude, you have to be loaded. Like as many times as they run your show, you got to be loaded." He goes, No. Our show aired on Saturdays originally. There's no money in the Saturday shows. If we'd had a primetime show, we'd all be loaded. Right? No, Kelly Kapowski did not show, but there were questions asked about the cast, and I will never repeat any answers. Good, bad, right, wrong, otherwise, so don't even go down that road.
He's a guy's guy. He was telling you some of the dirt. Wow, guy's guy.
And we went to 2 clubs with him, and at like 4:30 in the morning, I bailed. Johnny D, tall Johnny D, he was in it to win it. He was still there, hanging with him.
Nice.
Late into the night. Suffice it to say, not to let everybody down, there were many a woman that wanted to talk to Mario Lopez that night. So whatever those stories are about Mario Lopez out there, I don't know what they are. I see him every now and then. He does like Entertainment Tonight or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what he does? Entertainment Tonight now?
Yeah, I think
as an individual, I have nothing but
good things. Extra.
Okay, extra, whatever it is.
I don't know.
I have nothing but good things to say about Mario Lopez. Is he a guy's guy? I would say yes.
Wow.
There were all kinds of ladies who want to talk to him. He couldn't have been a nicer guy. Down to earth. Apparently, when you don't freak him out and creep him out like Adam did. And we ran around with him for like 4 or 5 hours that night.
Wow.
And, the connection, his buddy was really the in. But yeah, cool dude. Yeah, I would say he's a guy's guy.
Nice. Let's see. Let me keep going down this list. Jeff Bezos, guy's guy.
Don't know enough about him. Rich guy. I would say incomplete. Rich guy. I mean, that's a good start. Like I'd like to get divorced and still be worth $169 billion. I mean, wait, let me restate that. I don't want to get divorced by any stretch of the imagination. My point is just that guy got divorced and he's still worth $169 billion. Let me say, I would like to be worth $169 billion. Charles Barkley. I like Barkley. Barkley seems like a guy's guy, but I don't know enough about him as a human being. Like in my world, you can't be, and Barkley's always, I've been around him a number of times at the American Century Championships in Tahoe, and he's never a bad guy. I've actually gotten him to sit down and do the interview a couple times, and he's a fun guy. So, and everyone around him likes him. So I think all indications are Charles Barkley is a great guy and a guy's guy.
Right.
Kevin Harlan has nothing but great things to say about Charles Barkley. Kevin's hard. You know who was the guy's guy? Kevin Harlan.
Why?
Great family guy. Actually told me a story. I mean, if this is true, unbelievable, that he's never had an argument with his wife. So, he's a million times better than I am. But Kevin Harlan, anyone who meets Kevin Harlan, you'll think you're the most important person in the world. And he will make you feel that way. And he does it to everybody. I've seen it. I've seen it at the Super Bowl with people talking to him. He's also, I think, the best in the business at what he does. I don't think there's a better play-by-play guy out there. And, and he is very dedicated to his family. Kevin Harlan is, in my opinion, he defines guy's guy.
Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida.
Who put that? What? How do we get into politics?
I'm just naming random famous people. Ron DeSantis said, "Fuck COVID. Don't be pussies.
Yeah, no.
Go out and live your life. You don't need a mask. You sheep." No. Is he a guy's? Could you chop it up with Ron DeSantis and throw back some drinks?
First of all, what does chop it up mean? I keep thinking you're talking about like cut up some lines of blow or something. What does chop it up mean?
It could be if you're into coke. I don't know.
I'm not, so that's why I don't want to say I could chop it up.
It's not coke. Just have fun, have a conversation. A lot of time.
I don't. I personally, I could not. I don't judge anyone's politics, but no, I think people should try to stay safe. And I wish, we should have been through this a long time ago. No, chopping and taking. Well, thank you, Doug, because I'm clearly. Does that get me out of the guy's guy club that I don't know what chop it up means?
Stupid doesn't make you a guy's guy.
Ignoring science and reason and logic and responsibility would not put you in the guy's guy. Oh, there's one for you.
I don't think I've only met Carrot Top a couple times because the SO does his he might be out right here. Does his lashes. Is he out?
I don't care what you want to do.
Well, I will tell you, Carrot Top hangs out with Nicolas Cage, or he used to. He hung out a lot with Nicolas Cage and Vince Neil.
I think every time I've seen an interview with Nicolas Cage, I think he seems like a guy you'd want to hang out with. Am I wrong?
I think with both of them, once they start getting liquored up, all bets are off. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Is that an out? That takes you out?
No,
weren't we at a bachelor party back in the day with a guy that you just didn't know what was going to happen?
Yeah, drinking doesn't take you out of it.
Okay. Listen, if you're always getting in fights and altercations when you drink, you're out. No, that's not a guy's guy. Okay. That's a dumbass.
Let's see. Does his lashes? Oh yeah, definitely a guy's guy. Well, he's a redhead and he's got very light lashes and he's trying to go for a certain look,
What does he make him lighter or darker?
Make him darker. Yeah, he colors them like black because you can't see him. So,
okay.
He's very concerned with his looks. That doesn't mean you can't be a guy's guy if you're in your looks.
He's in showbiz. That's fine. That's
even though I sort of eviscerated Tom Brady earlier. All right, so Ron DeSantis, that didn't go over well. Alex Rodriguez.
Who the F is Carrot Top?
He is a legend here, man. We can Carrot Top is going to be working here forever.
Yeah, listen, I have heard through sources, you may know the source, that he's a great guy.
Yeah. Is a guy's guy comfortable and solid at a bachelor party?
What is solid at a bachelor party?
I don't know. I don't know what the definition is. Maybe like promoting the fun, but not being a horse's ass.
Sure. That could be it. I mean, if you're a 24-year-old at a bachelor's party and you're a horse's ass, like not offensive to women, right? But if you're like, dude, we're getting shots and we're going to this club and we're hitting this strip club or whatever, that's all right. You're 24. That's what the hell you're supposed to be doing when you're 24.
Yeah.
If you're me and that's what you're doing, no, you're a dipshit. You're a dumbass, right? Like tired, old, worn out, fat ass, married with kids, running around Vegas, acting like, dude, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah, bullshit. It's a marketing scam, dipshit. You have responsibilities. So it depends on who you are and where you are in life. Now, 49-year-old, single, no interest in kids or marriage or whatever, go do whatever you want. To each his own. Me doing that? No. No. If you see me running through the lobby of a Vegas hotel yelling, "We're going streaking," that's not cool. I have gone to the Casino Royale a time or two. Yeah, that's true.
I feel like Sinatra would be one of the ultimate guys.
Yeah. Knew
If
the
you
mob.
if you could hang out
Had
with
you
him.
killed. A table and chairs that he sat at are in this room.
Yeah. All right.
People don't know I bought the table and chairs from the Sinatra suite where he would stay at the stands when they blew it up.
Oh, very nice.
You know it. You love that table and chairs.
I do. I'm waiting for it. At
You
some
crave
point,
that table and
at
chairs.
some point, all I have is secondhand stuff, so I'll take something that's like 25 years old secondhand.
25 years old.
How old is it? Like 35? Can't be that old.
I mean, I've possessed it since 1999.
Wow. Okay. It's getting
I
up
mean,
there.
I don't know, 50 years old.
What hotel does a guy's guy stay at in Vegas? The El Cortez.
What night does Brady host?
That is a good question, actually.
I don't know. Where does a guy's guy stay in Vegas?
I mean, I'm a cheap ass, so
Wait, what's the one? Only pansies stay in hotels. Like, where are you supposed to stay?
oh god.
And some Airbnb or what? Like,
I think Ari. I feel like Ari has been on this since we started. Ari's been on this whole kick that like all these manly qualities we're talking about are kind of hurting his feelings, and he's in denial. Like he's like, it's not hurting my feelings, but he's dropped stuff in like, if you use hand lotion because your hands are sore, you're not a guy's guy. And he said something last night like, if you recognize trans people, I guess you're not a guy's guy. I'm like, all right, bro. I don't know why you're getting all like weird about it. Last night he mentioned that the whole conversation seemed a bit regressive, like we were going back in time. Like, I guess. Like, I think his wish is like, be a well-rounded dude who, can get along with everybody and doesn't have to have like, real showy masculine qualities. I mean,
right? He says I'm only being sarcastic, but I'm like, I'm not getting where's the sarcasm.
Brady, you're like our Ari whisperer at this point. I can't really talk to him anymore. I don't know what's going on. The last 2 weeks, I don't know what is happening. Today, I will tell you, because I like to go behind the scenes on the show. Today was the first day where I was like, all right, it's like the second day recently where I was like, okay, there's two guys on the show I'm hosting who are going to start fighting. And in this case, they weren't face to face. And I'm like, I'm not really sure what to do. I should go full Cofield and say, you're distracting me. Like, shut the fuck up. But I was kind of intrigued, and I'm like,
Adam and Ari?
No, it was Ari and our remote tech, Angel.
Okay.
And Ari said something to Angel that sounded like it was pointing the finger at Angel, and like every break, Angel's like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? No, explain it. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen here. What do I do? Do I mediate? Do I get out of the way? For once, I'm not involved in a fracas. How about just sit back and enjoy it? So, do Jed and Curtis ever get to a point where you're like, oh, shit?
With each other or with me?
Yeah, with each other.
No. I don't know if you know this. With each other?
Yeah.
No, they're both pacifists.
Yeah.
I mean, and if it ever did, Jed's life would end. I mean, Curtis is a mountain of a guy.
He's a big guy. Yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot of damage unless you can get him down quick. Unless Jed's got the skills of the Oklahoma MMA guy taking out the 6'1" football player.
Working with somebody for 20 years, there have been a couple of times that Curtis and I have gone at it, right? And, there is that thought at a moment like, all right, what am I going to do in this situation?
Oh, really? That's awesome.
No, I mean, Curtis has never like clenched a fist or said, I'm going to kick your ass or anything, but there's been like, hey, like for the most part, Curtis, he's a guy that he's not looking for conflict. So he's going to try to find the path like, hey, let's calm down. But there are times like if you push his button, and I respect it in the man, that he'll be like, eat shit, man. Here's the deal. And when you get there, because he doesn't do that all the time, like when you and I do it, it's called 3:00, right? Like when he does, you're like, oh shit.
It's called 3:00.
All right, do I want to continue down this road?
Yep.
Because I don't see this often in the guy.
Yeah.
And Jed's stoned all the time, so
That's good.
So you get those two are it's impossible for them to square off.
That's kind of awesome. No, Ari, where is it? Ari, I got it. Yeah, you said I know you guys are friends, and you said that's my bro. No work BS will come between us in real life. I got it. That's why I let you guys just do it, and I just sat there and I shut it out. So you guys work it out.
Who would win in a fight?
In what?
Ari and Angel.
I mean, Angel seems like a tougher guy, but I have no idea. I don't know if Ari, will throw hands, and I don't know if
Ari have scrap.
Practices Krav Maga or something. I don't know what's going on.
When I'm talking to Ari, when I'm coming on your show, I want to know: am I dealing with a man who can handle himself?
Oh boy, here we go. Don't do this.
Is this a man that's not to be trifled with?
Well, believe me, he's trifled with. But the good thing is, the last couple of weeks, there's been so much trifling over the years that he really has started to push back to the point where I'm like, all right, well, something's fucking wrong. Like this is hardcore. He's starting to get pissed. He's pissed at a bunch of people right now, so which is a good thing. Let it out.
He's got reach. Ari says he's got reach.
Yeah.
He's got reach for sure. Okay.
Adam chimes in. Angel will murder Ari. Because that eliminates I don't know from me.
Yeah. Okay. Geez, so you were basically just too gutless to actually say Angel would wreck Ari. Is that what you get?
Dude, I don't know for sure.
Is that Ari texting you saying, all right, knock this conversation off?
No, he never does that. He knows.
What are you looking down at, jackass?
I don't know. Oh, you know what I was looking for? I was looking for your list of stories.
Oh, I don't care. Go wherever you want.
No, because I took us in all these crazy directions. I do want to mention a little college basketball before we finish because we got a late start. So we've all got days tomorrow, including the listeners and the viewers. So we've talked a lot about the 1 seeds against the field in the NCAA tournament. The problem is that was really good talk about a week ago, and then a lot of the 1 seeds have shown some chinks in the armor. Kinks in the armor, chinks in the armor, kinks in the armor.
Lost the game. That's what, to me, everybody and their brother was all taking the 1 seeds.
No one on our show was taking the 1 seeds.
Before they got dinged up.
Oh yeah, every bet was taking the field.
Me neither. Because we're not more. Well, I would expect that in Vegas where people actually wager.
Yeah.
Right, but where you don't have to put your money where your mouth is. There's plenty of shit talk. Like it wasn't even about 1 seeds. I was hearing people ask the question: Baylor and Gonzaga versus the field. Yeah, the field. And I might take out a loan to take the field against those two. And listen, that may sound stupid if one of them wins the championship, but the mathematical odds are that those two alone against 66 other teams in a COVID environment. Now, Baylor would seem to be a little more COVID immune with all the COVID they've dealt with recently, that they would seem to be, more have the was it immunities or what is it? The whatever it is, they would be less likely to be brought down by COVID. But who's to say Gonzaga doesn't end up forfeiting a game, forfeiting out of the tournament?
Right.
Like more than ever, the field would be a better play.
Yep. How about?
Did you not hear people nationally when Baylor and Gonzaga were undefeated, just chirping Baylor and Gonzaga versus the field?
I didn't hear anyone national talk this bet. We only referenced it locally because people were posting it. But so there were some national people who were like, "Oh yeah, take Baylor and Gonzaga." Really?
Listen. I saw
minus 110 situation or 115 both ways. You're not going to take the field.
I mean, people don't get gambling. They don't get gambling. So, yeah. By the way, the Kansas bill passed a major hurdle, and something that a lot of people in this state thought was going to be 3 or 4 years down the road may actually come together this year. And then some people will shut up and stop talking shit because they'll lose a bunch of money and
right.
We're talking about how, oh, this is obvious. They're definitely going to win. Okay, so did you bet it? Well, no. Then it's not obvious then, right? Because you can go get it done now.
Oh, how awesome is that? Tweet me your ticket right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have an account. We'll get one.
No, well, I'm not going to bet it. I mean, I just know. Shut up then.
You've been waiting for this forever. That's awesome.
Oh, I have been. If the casino opens up minus 120, will the sun come up tomorrow? Minus 120, yes. Plus 110, no. I take out the biggest fucking loan I can take on yes. Right? It's not like, well, I don't bet.
Right.
No. When they go, hey, free money, which they don't do, obviously, but if they do something stupid like that, when you call me and say, no way this team loses, then get the money out and go get as much down on that team as you can. Otherwise, you're full of shit. You're telling me a drive to the casino or some pecs on your phone is too much effort for the can't lose? No, it'll be a great day here because I'll be like, how much did you make on it? Well, I didn't bet it. Well, then you're full of shit.
Adam, is the number off the board or is the field like minus 180 now? Adam says he bet 1250 at minus 125.
The field was only minus 125?
It was actually lower than that to start at some places. They also had a bet last week at the – I guess because you're getting a third team.
A Gonzaga team that's been beating up on the West Coast Conference. Granted, they beat Kansas.
Right. Kansas
is better now than they were then. They beat some good teams. Don't get me wrong. They're a really good team. But, the favorite in any tournament to win the whole tournament is like 20%. And that's a strong favorite at 20%. You're getting like 30% chance to win. Field is minus 120. Am I missing something? Am I wrong? Are these two teams that much better than everybody else?
They're not.
Is the field minus 120 with 16 teams listed on the board, though? Or the field is minus 120 against just Baylor and Gonzaga?
It's just the whole field against Baylor and Gonzaga. Let me look it
up. That's insane.
Baylor or Gonzaga wins the men's basketball championship. That's the bet. Yes, even. No, minus 120.
Oh, my Lord.
Send me money. Well, you don't have to send me money. Just tell me what you want.
Yeah, I want it.
We didn't say this on here. I will not be betting across.
Because that's the wire act.
Right.
I have a friend that's coming out there. He can go make the bet.
We'll figure it out. But I agree. You had another question. I didn't really understand it. Well, I did, but which teams? You were asking which newbies that are high in the rankings.
So like Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan. Because there's no Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, Michigan State. All the teams that are traditionally there. Of the teams that are now occupying those spots, Gonzaga, I think, has arrived. So not Gonzaga. But right. Baylor, Michigan, Ohio State, Illinois, West Virginia was up to number 6. And they lost. So, Huggy Bear is kind of Huggy Bear. But which one of those teams is, Arkansas is, climbing way up there, like Alabama, which one of the teams that are new to being a 1 or 2 seed have the staying power and they're not going away. They're the new Gonzaga. They've got the formula and they're going to keep it together because part of the success of those teams is no doubt bad recruiting class. This year was a bad group of talent. So the teams that live year by year by plucking the top talents obviously all fell down. Kansas has got an NCAA investigation that hurt them, and all these coaches are getting old. The potential is that they're just all falling off, but that's great. So we can debate whether or not Kansas will be back. North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, are they all going to be back? Michigan State, that's one conversation. What I think is interesting is, is Alabama back? I would tell you no, because Nate Oates is going to end up somewhere else. Whatever he's doing at Alabama, if one of the power schools, I'll tell you right now, Syracuse will be all about Nate Oates having one at Buffalo. So if Jim Boeheim keeps shooting his mouth off and they finally go, that's enough, Jim, you got to go. Nate Oates is the guy I would go hire at Syracuse right now. It ain't Mike Hopkins and his 5-game winning ass at Washington. I would go hire Nate Oates.
I'll ask the chat.
Is Musselman going to be at Arkansas 4 years from now?
Let me ask the chat room first. Would you leave Alabama to go to Syracuse? So I'll just leave that out there. Musselman will not leave Arkansas because I think they'll pay him. I think they have bottomless pockets and they're so hungry to win that if they need to pay him $5 or $6 million, they will do it.
Musselman's kind of an odd duck.
Musselman is actually perfect for what's going on right now because he can build his program and replenish it almost every year with transfers. He's got like this magic goddamn touch.
Right, but so which I think is a great fit for Arkansas, and if he recognizes it's a great fit, and if Arkansas will give him 85-90% of whatever he's offered, then I think staying at Arkansas could be like, Greg Marshall turning down offers or not pushing for jobs and staying at Wichita. He was making $3.5-4 million a year, had the private jet every time he wanted to go recruit. I mean, he had everything like he was a Power 5 school where he had 90% of the money, but no chance of ever getting fired. Right? So if Musselman has that at Arkansas, and I think coaches are smarter now and recognize that. I mean, let's be honest. Shaka Smart, is at Texas, and he's one step ahead of the firing posse.
Yep.
And this year he's going to keep his job, but he's going to graduate a ton of guys, and then he's probably going to disappoint next year, and he'll be on the hook following one.
I mean, the other factor, not to always go to this, but the other factor with Shaka Smart, they're not going to stop playing the eyes of Texas. Do you think everyone there is in favor of Shaka Smart having the job?
No.
Right? So as you put it, there's always going to be that crew that's like, get him out of here. Not our type of guy. But I personally, Petro, and this is nothing against Syracuse. Well, it is. I would like to be like right behind Kentucky in terms of expectations at a school that has bottomless pockets. I think Alabama's a great job. Now that said, I think Nate Oates is a bit of a fluke. I think he walked into a situation where he had some really good veteran players. I'd like to see him replenish this, and he's gonna have to use the transfer world to do it. So to me, he's a good coach, but I don't know if he's gonna have elite talent every year moving forward.
But for Musselman and Oates, they're maximizing their returns in a year that Kentucky's down.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what happens with Florida. I've been disappointed with what White's done at Florida. I thought he would have more juice there and he'd be capitalizing more. But like Iowa and Kansas State can win football championships, but they do it when Michigan State and Ohio State and Oklahoma and Texas are stumbling. When the big boys are up and running, they don't win that. And those coaches know that, right? Bill Self's alma mater, Oklahoma State, which has a good basketball tradition, came after him, and he didn't do it. He used it to get a raise to stay at Kansas. Because if you want to win national championships and win at the highest level, the Blue Bloods are where you get it done. There are built-in advantages, right? So what do you want to do? Do you want to, like, once you're at the ultimate level and you can pull your recruits, don't you want the power of the school that can also pull recruits?
Yeah, there's like 6 jobs Nate Oates should leave for. There's like 6 jobs Musselman should leave for.
But let's go to your point about Syracuse for either one of them. Like first of all, is Arkansas or Alabama a job that you're convinced that you can contend for a national championship every year? Because if you want to win national titles, what you do is be good enough to win almost every year.
Yeah.
I think you might win one.
I think you can at both schools. I think they've got the recruiting budget that I always talk about at certain places. Admissions, there's never an issue, and they have a hunger to win. So they'll do what they need to do to support you to win.
Okay. So personally, I believe every mega coach that's a winner is underpaid, including Mike Krzyzewski and Nick Saban. All right. Nick Saban's worth $20-25 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
He makes 10.
Yep.
All right. So I don't think they'll ever pay Nate Oates more. And to Syracuse, and because I'm interested in your thoughts about what Syracuse is, I will freely admit they're a one-coach program.
Oh, wow.
Right? CU is now a one-coach program. I know they had success way back in the day, but let's see. And Gary Patterson's success has been relative recently. But Syracuse is just Jim Boeheim.
UConn
Someone else.
UConn is a one-coach program, even though Kevin Ollie won a title.
Who is?
UConn is a one-coach program.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying it.
I would say that, yes, and I wouldn't argue that because he won with the remnants of what was left to him. And then as he got further away, like Miami in football was a multiple coach program, but it wasn't, Larry Coker wasn't good enough to keep it going. He won a championship his first year because of what was left to him, right? And Miami's never been able to get back to that point. So they actually looked like they arrived with Schnellenberger to Jimmy Johnson to Dennis Erickson, and then they have not been able to recapture it. Right? So Villanova's multiple coaches. I don't know that Villanova – I don't know that you just say, like, this is a prime job I want to go grab. And it's why I think Jay Wright may leave one day. Right? Like, I will tell you a popular name if Bill Self were to go to the pros or just retire and leave. Jay Wright's the name that a lot of Kansas people want to go for. I think the next coach at Kansas, if Bill Self leaves, Bill Self won't leave until the NCAA investigation's over because somebody put up there, Bill Self's a man's man. There's an element of that. He's not going to abandon ship during rough waters. So he will see it through to the end of this, whatever it is. But I believe Chris Beard is the next coach at Kansas if Bill Self leaves in the next 5 years because they're good buddies. I asked Bill Self, who are you closest to in the league? I thought he was going to say Bob Huggins because I know many a beverage has been shared between those two. And I think Bob Huggins is probably second. But he said Chris Beard. So if they're that tight, and Chris Beard's a graduate of Texas, so the Texas job will be offered to him at some point. But I think the job he would eye and the fact that he knows with Bill Self, he'd be like, well, this is where you win. Because whatever you can recruit, it's squared when you come here. But they'll call when you're Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, and Duke's a one coach program. Duke's Jim Boeheim, Krzyzewski's Boeheim on steroids. Like I'm not convinced. Like when because you know what they're going to do? They're going to hire some other Duke guy.
Yep,
and it's probably going to shit itself because no Duke assistant has done anything anywhere else. Anything appreciable, you'd be like, well, so and so took him to the tournament. Yeah, what's his name at Northwestern went once. But I'm talking about sustained, like, holy shit, this guy's the Mac. I mean, Quinn Snyder, who's a stud in the NBA, couldn't win consistently enough to keep his job at Missouri. Jeff Capel, who seemed to be the linchpin to getting all the talent at Duke, has gone to Pitt, and they're not doing shit right now. So, like I'm of the like. Listen, and when I say they're not a blue blood, they're not a blue blood because they haven't had championships with multiple coaches. To me, that defines blue blood. You have to win with multiple coaches and preferably more than two.
Right.
So, I think it remains to be seen. And listen, I'm well aware of my program. I just know this: basketball pays the bills more than football up there, so they'll give a coach more than what he should make. Because playing the home games in that dome and when they're winning, and I think that's what's ultimately going to cost. Part of why Jim Boeheim still has a job is kind of like, did you see Leonard Hamilton got $2.25 million? Mike Krzyzewski makes $8 million and Leonard Hamilton's beating him. Well, part of it's because they know better day, like Krzyzewski's going to return to greatness.
Right.
Leonard Hamilton's 72, no one else is going to hire him. But Boeheim only makes like $2.5–3 million himself. Partly he stays there because I'm going to get my 3 every year forever. So why would I he turned down Ohio State way back in the day. Why would I take $4 or $5 million to go somewhere else where after 2 years they go, this sucks, you're out. So, but Syracuse, when it comes time to pay the freight, their money's tied up in basketball. And so I think they will pay. But are they a blue blood? Oh, God, no. Syracuse is not a blue blood. Not one championship. What is it? Bam's got 5, 6 Final Fours and 1 championship. Blue blood? No. I wish they were, but they're not. Nate Oates got there. I mean, they're promising candidates, but we've seen a lot of guys, Listen, who was it who had Kentucky's job? Billy Gillespie.
Yep.
I mean, how much did he look like a shooting star?
No.
And he got to Kentucky, and it was a disaster. Listen, dealing with fan bases and the boosters, like, oh, Billy Gillespie had a drinking problem. But yeah, I know. And then he went to Texas Tech, and that didn't work either. Right? And he looked like he was the shit. Like, you don't know what a guy is in a blue blood program until he gets to a blue blood program. And that's why Bill Self is great. That's why Mike Krzyzewski is great. That's why Roy Williams is great. Because all that shit going on around there, there's more shit going on there than you know. Those jobs are tough. People who think John Calipari, oh, he can't coach, shut up. You don't know what coaching is. You know what coaching is. He makes those teams better at the end of every year. And by the way, the shit that guy deals with when he walks off the court, you have no concept of what he has to deal with.
I think Michigan State could steal Nate Oates.
I mean, if they'll pay it.
Yeah. So does that mean they're a blue blood?
No.
I mean,
in my opinion, no.
Okay. Well, I mean, they had Heathcote into Izzo.
They have 2 championships with 2 coaches.
Yeah.
You can't be a blue blood with 2 titles.
Who's closer to being a blue blood, Michigan or Michigan State? Or you could say neither. Who has a brighter future? Michigan.
No. Which one's closer? You can't skip it because you give me 2 options. I would say for meeting my if Juwan Howard, does Michigan have a title? They do. They have a title with. No, did they win a title? They didn't win a title under Frieda, right? He left, and then they won one. They've only got 1 basketball title, right?
Fisher.
Yeah, just Fisher. That's it, though, right?
Against Seton Hall, yep.
So Michigan State's closer. Multiple titles with multiple coaches. If Juwan Howard won, they're caught up.
Well, I guess I was basing it more on who's closer to being a blue blood now. Probably Michigan.
Probably Michigan because
probably in his last legs.
Because Juwan Howard looks like not only can he recruit, but he can flat out coach. And I know the Illinois game without their star player notwithstanding, but they've been a beast up there. But tell me about Brad Underwood at Illinois.
He's good. He's real good. Am I confident? Am I confident that they're like you're back to your question 10 minutes ago about who's going to stay? I'm not entirely sold yet on Underwood. I got to see, more and more recruiting classes. So, but he's damn good. He's a great coach. The X's and O's guy. He's a great coach.
Yeah, he can X and O it. And this is a guy that was on the bench at K-State when Frank Martin left and K-State didn't hire him. And he went to K-State and they didn't hire him. Yeah. He went to Stephen F. Austin, kicked ass, and they didn't hire him. Went to Oklahoma State, at least treaded water. Illinois came calling, and they didn't hire him. At a time when Bruce Weber was struggling. And now he's at Illinois. I feel bad for K-State fans. I really do. Because they really wanted Brad Underwood all the time. And now he's not. It's like Bill Self moved beyond Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I think Brad Underwood is on the verge of moving beyond Kansas State. Like, do you think Illinois is a good – me and Doug Gottlieb used to argue about this. And I said, if Bruce Weber can't win at Illinois, he's not going to win at Kansas State. Bruce Weber has proved me wrong to some degree, but I will say I was wrong. Bruce Weber has exceeded my expectations at K-State, although he's going to look like go back-to-back years winning 3 games in the league. Immediately following winning the league championship, he's parlayed that into nothing. He was co-champions 3 years ago and then has won 3 games in 3 games the next 2 years. But Doug Gottlieb said something to me was a really good point. He's like, Illinois is not as easy as you think because it's close to Chicago and the Great Lakes. There's a lot of politics there. Well, Brad Underwood's navigated it. Bruce Weber couldn't continue the navigation of it. Neither could, what's his name, Gross, right?
Yep.
It was
John Gross. Yep, he did nothing.
Gross. He couldn't navigate it, right? But previous to that, Bill Self could, Lon Kruger could, and Henson could, Lou Henson. So, yes, we have 2 coaches that couldn't. Like, ultimately, Bruce Weber got to a championship, but when it was all his kids, he wasn't winning enough. So we have 2 coaches back-to-back, Weber and Gross, that couldn't. But now we apparently have Underwood sandwiched with Self, Kruger, and Henson that could. The Illinois job, I would like to have Gottlieb on, except he's impossible to pin down for a time. Love Doug, great analyst. No hate towards him, but the reason he's not my college basketball insider is because we couldn't get him in on the time we needed him in. And now we have Gary Parrish, who's phenomenal. But the Illinois job looks like a pretty damn good job now, right?
It's good, but I think there's always that underlying I don't know a whole lot about the place, but I think there's always that underlying battle of academics versus athletics that gets in the fucking way.
What do you mean? Like the Illinois academics are so strong you can't get a kid in there?
No. I mean the academics department wants to fucking fight athletics to essentially take them down. Like they're They're a goddamn criminal. I don't mean getting kids in the school. That's the political part of a place like that.
Okay, well, and maybe it is, and we'll see what happens with Underwood. And if that's the case, then he'll have his head on a swivel and be looking to go, and he'll have no shortage. Like, he's done a great job of career jumping. Right? He came into Oklahoma State, said, "Listen, time for a raise." Yeah. They said, "No chance." He said, "I'll go to Illinois," and I was like, "Ooh."
And by the way, I'll give him credit. That's a freaking ballsy move, right?
It is, and like
I think a lot of people around college sports were like, "Hey, Illinois, what the fuck, man? You're just stealing another school's coach." Like, yeah, we are, because that's what we're doing now. Because that's what we do.
Gary Parrish made a great point about Buzz at A&M.
Buzz Williams.
Yeah. He said, and he detailed the conversation he had with him, that like Buzz at Marquette, when he left for Virginia Tech, Gary Parrish talked to him. He's like, "Why are you doing this?" He was like, "Listen, I took Marquette to this level, and now they're not satisfied when I don't get to that level. And this job, like, that level is exceeding beyond what this job really is.
Right.
So I go to Virginia Tech, and they have no expectations. And so I and Doug Gottlieb used the term restart the shot clock. I get more money, and I go to a place where the expectations are lower." And then he took them up to where they were back-to-back tournament teams, and then he went, "Okay, I'm going to go restart the shot clock down at A&M." And I think he'll take A&M to multiple tournaments eventually, right? And then he'll be like, "I'm off to the next place." Like that, he clearly has figured out, here's the game. But Brad Underwood, he's never had a top 5 team. Brad Underwood has arrived at Illinois, and he's a top 5 team. He's a 1 seed right now. That's a whole nother level.
It's actually funny thinking back. I made a road trip with UNLV. UNLV played at Illinois and were like 2 fuck-ups away. Basically just had to get off a final shot or 2, and they would have beat that Illinois team when Ayo Dosunmu was a freshman. And Illinois had very little beyond Dosunmu and the Frazier kid. And I'm telling you, in that arena, and it's a good-sized arena, I sat in the front row with the Illinois fans. There was no one there. It was like 4,000. And look where he is now.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I've interviewed.
Those are the most impressive jobs. When a guy goes in and we don't have to hear, "Oh, the rebuild is fucking, they don't say fucking 4 years, but 4 years, you got to be paid." You know what? No. Go in, win in 3 years. Let's go.
And how about no fucking excuses? Sorry. Excuse my French, but how about the fact that Bob Huggins lost his best player, right? The big man. I'm not even going to try with the name right now. If I don't have it in front of me, I got no shot. Who was a double-double last year as a freshman and was first-team All-Big 12. He left after 10 games and is top-rated recruit this year, and he was number 6 in the country playing Baylor last night. No, and he doesn't whine. He doesn't piss and moan. And his post-game press conferences aren't, "Well, we lost this guy. We lost that. He's like, "We didn't play well enough." "Well, we can't make a shot to save our life." Well, when you don't execute an offense, this is what happens. Right? There are no excuses. That's why people love Bob Huggins. Man's man, Bob Huggins. Has problems, has transgressions. But I'm going to tell you, when I talk to Bob Huggins, I can ask Bob Huggins anything. And by the way, I still talk to him from his 1 year at K-State, and he knows who I am. And if we call and put a request in, he always does it.
That's the funny thing about him. He's like
Frank Martin, man's man. Same thing about Frank Martin.
And both guys are the same. They will start out
in that circle.
But those 2 guys will start out, and you'll be like, "Oh shit, this is not going to be good."
That's what I love Huggins, because Huggins.
And then they keep going. And it's a good conversation.
Huggins will give you the long pause. There's nothing better in broadcasting than a long pause. Like, so many people, like, Huggins is pausing. "Well, I mean, Coach, are you there? Shut the fuck up." Yeah. Just like, have you ever heard a Huggins interview? You know what he does. Have you ever seen him in a post game? He will sit there and just wait and think and or give a dramatic pause. Like, that is radio gold. Huggins is one of the best interviews out there, because he will just pause and then, like, and if you ask him a dipshit question, "Coach, I mean, theoretically with basketball, I mean, is it important to, like, you got to have the kids, but you got to have a plan, and like, the talent, that's important, right?" "Yes." Except he paused and then go, "Yes." He's not going to do your job for you. But if you do your job, and you ask him good questions, you will get provocative answers with an incredibly dry sense of humor and long pauses that have people driving going, oh shit, did my radio shit the bed? But oh no, there he is. Like, you can't ask for anything to suck a listener in more than a Bob Huggins. Like, he is the best. Huggins, I love Huggins.
He's a trendsetter too. No more suits. No more suits.
No,
Built for comfort. Built for comfort.
We're going Texans hoodies, t-shirts.
Exactly.
We're going Bob Huggins style the rest of the way on this podcast. But right. Brad Underwood, I think Brad Underwood's the real deal, man. And I'm gonna tell you what, you get, you've done it too a lot. You broadcast in the Final Four and they bring the coaches around. He's smart. At Stephen F. Austin, he was there every year.
Yep.
Right? Making the rounds, getting his name out there, getting his program out there, talking about what they're looking for recruiting wise. And, would sit there and spend a couple minutes with you, talking after the fact or before the fact and bullshitting with you and giving you honest answers. Like that whole crew. And Bill Self's in that crew too. He'll give you answers, straight answers. Chris Beard won't talk. I can't get Chris Beard on. I know. I take that back. I have gotten him on. He's more just cryptic. He's not as much of a schmoozer. We'll see where he goes from here. But, like, I had him on. I think I had him on because he was receiving an award and he kind of had to do it. And I hit him with some things. There's a little bit of humor there. He's not as good as those other guys I mentioned. I still think he's a tremendous coach. Roy Williams, I got called a couple of times when Roy was at Kansas, driving down the road, and he's calling, hey, I heard you said this and that. Like, hey, what are you doing? You're totally wrong about this, that, and whatever. Which, number one, let me tell you something. I appreciate that Roy Williams reached out, right, to me. Like, don't piss and moan behind the scenes. Let me know. And I'm like, well, coach, this is why I did it, this and that, whatever. And we made it, and we got it all right. But there are a lot of people like, oh, Roy's always whining. Well, at least he's telling you what he's pissed about.
Right.
Not being a whiny shit. Like, talk to the man and say, here's why I did it. And I went back, and I remember going back at him once. I'm like, coach, like this, I asked you this question because this is what people want to know. I don't even remember what it was. Like, and I stand by that question. Well, I think you just need to do this and that. And I'm like, and I'll get on the phone with guys in advance and say, hey, I'm going to ask you this. But like, I have nothing but respect for Roy Williams too, because if you're going to be pissed, then call me, and Roy will call you. God bless him. Like, do I think could have thicker skin? Absolutely. But if you're not going to have thick skin, then at least call the guy you're pissed at, and Roy will do that, man. Give me that jackass's number. I'm going to call him. Or he wouldn't say jackass. He'd be like, give me that. Who's that guy? Give me his number. And he'd call you up, and,
That's cool.
Yeah. But anyway.
All right. That's a wrap.
Wait a minute. I want to know, is Brad Underwood, is Illinois, which school? You always like to play point guard. I want you to finish the play.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who's got the staying power?
Which Illinois and who else?
All of them. Any of them that are up there at the top right now. Not Gonzaga because they've been there for a while.
Yeah.
Baylor, Scott Drew.
Yes. I mean, I think they've been there. This isn't a fluke. They've been there.
No, they have not been there. They have not been a top 5 school. The last 2 years they have. They have not been a consistent top 5, top 10 into the top 5 school.
Yeah, he's there because they're going to play defense every year. They're a transfer destination. Yep, they're there. I think Michigan's there. I don't believe Alabama is set until I see, new players in there.
But in that, like Juwan Howard, and I haven't done, I'm going to do a roster breakdown on them, but are they all his kids? 2 years?
No.
They're a little bit of, but you said Michigan's there.
I do believe they're there because they're able to get transfers. They've got some young guys. Obviously, this Hunter Dickinson kid is really good. That's one of his guys.
Put up
Martelli's a great assistant head coach, essentially. So if Martelli's there, that's awesome.
I agree. Put up Doug's comment. So I did this breakdown. It's on the same computer I'm working on here, but he is his highest rated recruit is number 23 in the country, and he's a transfer from Florida. Otherwise, I think he has like an 89 or 90. Like there's that the only top 25, the only top 50 is a kid who transferred from Florida. He's got 5 transfers. Butler was like number 97. Like, that's the thing is that's what people don't get. Scott Drew is not getting when he was grabbing a top 10 big guy on a regular basis. That hasn't happened for the last 5 or 6 years. He has morphed to building. There's Billy Donlin, who's the head coach at UMKC, who used to coach under John Beeline, gave me a line. He said, are we assembling instruments or are we building an orchestra? Right? You get enough great instruments, like a lot of talent, you can roll the ball out there and be pretty damn good. And Drew used to grab instruments. He's assembled an orchestra. Like, go look at where those kids rank coming out and where he's been. These last 2 teams, he's transferred kids transfer from Presbyterian, and like, he is the king. He's what's wrong with Bruce Weber at K-State, who doesn't get in the transfer market. He has 5 transfers from little schools, from big schools. The guy totally gets it.
All right.
They may have you missed the number, whatever it is, number 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever it is. No, I have no doubt he's going to parlay it into more. And that's the thing, is that's why, like, if you want to say Baylor's going to stay, it's that he's proven he can recruit at a high level. He's proven he can build a team. And if he marries those 2 things together, then yes.
Yeah, Bama's the one I have some doubts in, and I think Ohio State's going to be pretty powerful too. But I mean, I guess your point is some of them are not going to be top 8 teams because the Blue Bloods who have vacated the spots this year are going to be back. So someone's going to have to get out of the top 8.
Unless all the Blue Bloods have lost their touch, have gotten old. I mean, they're not young guys. At some point, you do get old.
Yeah. I think Iowa is more like a top 15 program. I think they've got a really good team now because they're super experienced. And Garza's obviously a giant pain in the ass, and the refs love him. So
I think Iowa is Purdue on steroids.
Yeah. But McCaffrey's a good coach.
I agree.
And he gets guys from the area to go to
when he loses his shit one day.
Yeah. Well, that's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen. All right. That'll wrap it. That was good, man. Really good. All over the place, but it was good. And I appreciate everyone chiming in or checking in a little later. Sorry, I was a little busy tonight with the UNLV basketball game, but especially thanks to Saran.
Steve. Man, it's all about you. It's your world. We're just squirrels trying to get a nut.
It's all about my schedule. It's all about my schedule.